Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fussy Cut Crafts. I'm Adrienne, and thanks for joining me. I have I have realized that I have three categories of trash in my house. I have things I'm planning to use for putting in my junk journal, which is right here. This is my junk journal. I have things I'm planning to turn into new junk journals. And I'm planning to open an Etsy shop, but one thing at a time. One thing at a time. So I'm getting there, but I need to bulk make some journals and ephemera and other stuff before I really get that started good. So I've got things to put in my junk journal, things to make other junk journals with, and things to mark make with. Like I've been keeping a lot of tops to things and other like plastic packaging, because they've got cool lines and patterns and things on them, and I figured I could use them on my jelly plate. I am currently surrounded by, I think I've managed to corral all of the things I want to put in my own junk journal, because I need to get this stuff in here. I've been collecting things, and sometimes I put a few things in, and the rest of the things have to go someplace else until I decide to put stuff in. And I realized this morning I was forgetting some of the stuff I had and where I had it. So I believe I've gotten everything together now, and I'm going to get as much done as I can this morning. And how many pages are left in here? I still have quite a few pages, and I don't even know, considering how, you see how chunky that is? I don't even know if I'll be able to finish to technically, put stuff on all of these pages, because there's so much stuff. There's still quite a bit of this book left. But I want to get as much done as possible, because the stuff is piling up to the point where my cabinets are filled. A lot of my cabinets are unfortunately filled with things that are technically trash. Boxes and bags and, packaging that I've cleaned. So I've got my coffee here in my Snoopy and Woodstock mug. And I'm going to get as much done as possible with my glue stick. I use I use a lot of different glue sticks, but I really like the Scotch permanent glue stick. I use the Scotch double-sided tape. I also use regular tape, and I've refilled my little cat tape holder here. So I'm just going to get as much done as I possibly can and just have a little chat and see where we go from there. I've also discovered I like kind of doubling up on things like this. This is just from packs of strawberries that I bought lately. I got the same brand 2 different times, and for one thing, I love that the label was already sticky and easy to come off. But I like kind of doubling up on stuff like that. It just adds some interest, I think, to the spreads. And sometimes I just put the stuff in here and don't make any comments about it. Sometimes I like to put the date write a little bit about the thing that I bought and used. I also try to really just use in my junk journals things that I've actually bought and used myself. But I have been, sometimes I put in things that I just randomly find. Like I went to, okay, so I broke my no-buy. I lasted for 2.5 weeks. And then on Wednesday, I finally bought something that I've been thinking about buying for quite a while. I got a dip pen and I got some inks for the dip pen. And I thought, okay, that's it. That's good. Spent quite a bit of money on that stuff. And I thought, okay, that's it. But then on Friday after work, I really had a hankering to go to Savers. Now, if you've ever been to a Savers, you probably know they are not cheap. They are nowhere near as cheap as going to Goodwill. It's cheaper than, buying brand new stuff, obviously. But you don't get as good of a deal as you do at Goodwill or some of the other kinds of thrift stores. They always have books I want. Always. I have managed to go in there and not buy books at Savers, but I pretty much always buy at least a couple of books, and I had a coupon. So I went in there, and it's always a thing where if you get 4 books, you get the 5th free or something like that. I went in there yesterday and found so much stuff that I needed a cart. I've never come out of Savers needing a cart before. So that was its own kind of experience. Now, like I said, I had a coupon, so I did not technically spend like a lot of money. I think it was either 10 or 11 books. Most of them I'm planning to use for junk journal, making junk journals and making ephemera. I did get one art book that's got some really cool ideas about different techniques for different things like acrylics and inks and watercolors, and how you can combine those with other things and get some cool effects. So I got that for myself. But for the most part, it's stuff I'm going to use in making junk journals. And I've already got, just like the actual junk in my house, the actual trash that I've been collecting to make things with. For the most part, I already have a lot of books that I'm planning to use that stuff to use for making journals and ephemera. But I've really been having a map thing lately. And I never disliked maps or anything, but I have really become a fan of using maps for making envelopes and pockets and journal pages and things like that. Ever since I watched a tutorial from Treasure Books, which is another channel you can find on YouTube. She makes a lot of really intricate journals and journaling ephemera, and uses a lot of cool techniques and uses trash basically to make all of her stuff. And I made her book of pockets out of an old atlas, and that was where it kind of started. Now I've been back to Savers twice and gotten additional atlases, atlasi. I don't know what the plural of atlas is, but I bought one yesterday, which was specifically designed for kids. So it's got a lot of cool demographic information in it and stuff like that. A lot of cool colors. So that's going to be fun to use for stuff. I like a lot of colors. I like a lot of different patterns and textures and things like that. So those are going to make really good pages. So I got that. I like birds. I have a bird window that I like to stand in front of for probably a weird amount of time for some people per day, so that I can watch the birds and the squirrels and occasional deer and chipmunks at the feeders. So I've got I found a ginormous made for kids bird book. It's literally like it's probably like this big. It would fill the whole screen, this book. So that's going to be really cool to make stuff out of. I'm excited about that. What else did I get? I got, I don't know if any of you guys are old enough to remember this, but there was a big thing in the 80s about figuring out what season you were so that you could wear the right colors for your skin tone. I'm forgetting what the name of the book is now, but I found a copy of that book from 1980. It's got some cool illustrations in it and a lot of old-timey photos. So I found that. That was really cool. I'm planning to use that for stuff. So I found some really, somebody, every time I go there, it seems like somebody has given away a whole set of old cookbooks. One time I found Good Housekeeping cookbooks from, I think, the late 60s and early 70s. And this time when I went, I found Family Circle, which I don't even know if that's a magazine anymore. I know it was relatively recently a magazine, but I don't know if it's still around. But it's basically just a Good Housekeeping type of magazine. And I found somebody had relinquished a whole set of Family Circle cookbooks from the 70s. So now when I found the Good Housekeeping books, I went a little nutty and probably brought too many of those home. I probably, got too many of those, but there were cool little illustrations and cool colors and all that kind of stuff. It was really just nice. So those are going to make some cool pages. I got quite a few of them. But this time I was able to control myself. I was trying to stick to $40. And I managed to do it, which was unbelievable. I spent $38 and change with my coupon. So I only bought a couple of those, and those were only $1.99 each, and I only got 2 of them. Well, I'm looking forward to making some cool stuff with those pages. There was another giant kids picture book with some really cool illustrations in it, and the paper has a really nice texture, not too thin, not too thick, that I think will also be good for making like pockets and envelopes and stuff. And let's see, I can't remember what else I got. See, this is what happens when you shop just kind of like unbound. You forget what you get. And I'm trying really hard not to do that anymore. I don't like this. This is taking up too much room. And there, I'm just going to leave it like that. Probably the same with this. Just cover this up so it doesn't stick down. And just let it hang loose. And then these will just be flaps. I can put stuff under, like this. I'll trim it a little bit. One other thing I did this week, which was, like I said, I think I said this in a previous video too, I've been losing track of my stuff. I have all these art supplies, I have all this junk, I have all these books, all these magazines, and I'm losing track of stuff because there's so much of it. Whenever I organize, I think, okay, these things are going to go here, and these things are going to go over here, and I'll put these things in this drawer, but I have so much stuff, I'll add to that collection, and then it doesn't fit in those spots anymore, so I have to find a new place. So I've been trying to reorganize stuff and make sure I know where everything is so that I can actually use my stuff. So one of the issues I had is that I had a mountain basically of stuff on my coffee table in my living room. Part of the reason was because I was pressing flowers. So I stacked a bunch of magazines and stuff up on them. And that was late November, I guess. But then I just kept adding to the stack and didn't go back to check to see if the flowers were ready for me to do stuff with them. So I ended up with just this massive mound of books, magazines, catalogs, art supplies, papers, notebooks, just way too much stuff. And on, was it Thursday night? Yeah, I think it was Thursday night. I went through all of it. And I separated everything into categories and tried to figure out where to put everything. And I don't have like an official place for everything yet. One of the things I had under there was a lot of, I guess I'll call it magazine shelves. So the cover and maybe just a few pages I had left behind after harvesting magazines. And what I would do is use it to glue on, so I wouldn't get glue all over my work surface here. And those are really good to use that for. But at some point, you kind of have to get rid of them. And that's what I did. I went through, I consolidated them, and I actually put some in the recycling, which I haven't done with a magazine in months. Even though I've been going through my magazines and harvesting stuff for backgrounds, fussy cutting, squares, all the stuff, I have not been, actually getting rid of stuff. So I finally did that. I finally got rid of some stuff, and I gotta tell you, it feels good. It feels good to not be extra burdened with things that I don't technically need to have. Yes, they're nice, it's nice to have them around, but I do not want for magazines or magazine covers or magazine pages or anything else. I don't even technically want for surfaces to glue on. I have that. I have all the things, guys. So I went through and got rid of some of those, put them in the recycling, and I organized everything. And I did something else actually on, was it Monday? Yeah, I think it was on Monday. It was Monday morning, because I don't work on Mondays. I have Mondays off. And I had finished my coffee and my breakfast, and I was kind of waiting around to feel capable enough to mow my lawn, which is not something I used to do. I used to always get up at like 6 o'clock on either Saturday or Sunday and mow my lawn then. But when I started taking Mondays as one of my off days every week, which was in late 2023. And then when I had to start mowing again in spring of last year, I started doing it on Mondays because I could do it a little bit, I could technically do it a little bit later. And so now that's kind of the rhythm I've gotten into. And I was waiting around to do that. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, which is Busted Open. It's a wrestling podcast. As I told you guys before, I watch wrestling. I was listening to that, and I started to think, I was getting rid of the box that I got my sewing machine in I think it was March. And as with many things in my house, it had become a place to store stuff that I bought but didn't know where to put. Art supplies and notebooks and papers and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, packing papers that I'm saving from boxes and things like that. And over the weekend, I had cut up a lot of boxes and put them in my recycling bin outside. So I was thinking, let me go ahead and finally get rid of this box. And I was about to cut it up, but it really is just, you know, when you find just a good box, just a good thick box. This, and it's a Brother sewing machine that I got. This is a really good box, like a really sturdy, strong box. So what I did, instead of breaking the box down so I could put it in my recycling, I turned it into shelving because I was already kind of using it as that. So what I did was actually this contact paper right here, which is, and it is official Contact brand contact paper, you know, with the sticky adhesive back. And, you know, it's got the guidelines on the backing paper so you can cut it correctly and everything. Self-adhesive. It's frosty white lace. So it's got a pretty lacy pattern on it. And I just covered the box. I cut the flaps off of one side, the side that was already open. I covered it with the contact paper. And now it's shelves. And I connected the flaps to use them as a separate shelf in the middle. And I'll take pictures of it and put them up eventually for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So I've got it as official shelving now, which actually works quite nicely. I've got some of my sewing stuff in there, which have been kind of either in the box already or cluttering up the my desk, which isn't a desk. This is my dining table that I work on. But it was either all, you know, the stuff was either already in the box or cluttering up my work surface here. So now I've got a place for that stuff, which feels nice. And it looks pretty cool. It's better than having just a plain cardboard box sitting under my dining table. So I did that, and I was inspired to buy additional contact paper, the same kind. Do I want to put this in here, or do I want to use this as a bag for something? I did wash it. It still smells like chocolate chips. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do about that. If I use this, What do you think? If I use this and it still smells like chocolate chips, even though I washed it, will it attract bugs? The last thing I want is to open up one of my journals and find something crawling around in it because this bag still smells like chocolate chips. If I leave it open, I wonder if it'll air out more. There's definitely no food left in there, but it does still smell like chocolate. So I think I'm gonna leave that for a while and see if I leave it open, if that smell will come out of there. So I did that. I mostly cleared off my coffee table. I do have some books still that I need to figure out where to put. But like I said, I'm inspired, and I did just buy more books, so I need some place to put those too. There's an empty spot underneath my dining table, up against the wall, where I figure I could use more boxes, cover them in the same contact paper, and then have additional shelving for more books or art supplies or whatever. So I bought more contact paper, and I thought I read the what do you call it? I thought I read the measurements correctly. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds good. I know it. I mean, it cost $36, which the original roll I got did not cost. It was $8 or $9 or something like that, and it was a little bit more than I needed to cover one box. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to cover, say, 2 more boxes and put them up against the wall underneath my dining table here, where again I do all my crafty stuff, then, you know, spending $36 on like 3 times as much, 3 or 4 times as much contact paper sounds fair, right? Especially for something that's, you know, decorative. It's not just regular clear contact paper that you can get like from the dollar store or whatever. But then when I got it, it was in this ginormous box that just kind of keeps going. And I didn't realize, I haven't opened it yet, but it is clearly just one really long roll that is longer than like even a roll of wrapping paper. Like, this is an incredibly long roll of contact paper. So it will definitely cover another like 3 boxes or whatever, and other stuff. And I could also, I was thinking this morning about this, I could use it for other crafty stuff. I have another menu in here somewhere. Where did I put that? I want to put the menu with the menu. Like, I could make envelopes out of it, pockets. I could make wallets or something. Oh, this is a lot of trash, guys. I've got a lot of stuff to get through. Yeah, I'm gonna forget about trying to do things in specific categories here, because I'll never get anything in this book. And I could always write stuff down later. So, and I'm sure there's somebody, again, on YouTube, because everybody's on YouTube. All the crafty people are on YouTube. I'm sure there's somebody who, I'm sure I could just go to YouTube and look up contact paper crafts and get a lot of ideas of other things to use this stuff for, if I don't end up covering so many boxes that I use it all up. So it's fine. I'll be making envelopes and stuff out of it probably. It'll work out nicely. So it is Saturday here as I film this, and I'm planning to get the video up later today because I want to do some additional, I want to kind of do some batch filming this weekend and get stuff taken care of, so I don't have to, if I don't want to, I don't have to kind of think about it, about filming or posting during the week. Because one of the things, I've only done, I think, 3 videos, and one of the things I've already noticed is that whenever I think about doing something crafty, my mind immediately goes to, well, I should film that. And I don't want this to turn into a situation where I feel like I can't do anything crafty unless I film it. Because then that feels like pressure, and it feels like work. I don't want this to feel like work. I want it to stay fun and loose and free. And if I'm filming something, it's because I want to film something and not because I feel like I have to film something. So I want to have enough time to do all my crafty stuff, whether it's on camera or not. Do the stuff that's just for me, and also do the stuff that I share. And something I did last night, because I was thinking after I got home, and it took me, I was at Savers maybe for the longest I've ever been in Savers. I think it was like 3 hours or 3.5 hours or something like that. It was a long time. Like, I was really considering all the books, to the point where I started flipping through things, and like, I found money in one book. And I did keep that money, because it's not like they know specifically who. And it was a $2 bill. So, those are kind of rare. And it's not like they know specifically who they got that from anyway. But I was flipping through a lot of stuff. But once I got home from Savers, because I was considering filming a video yesterday, but then when I got home, I figured I've been thinking about all the crafty things I want to do, and all the things I want to make, all the things I want to share and sell and things like that. And I've just kind of been keeping it all in my head, which, let me tell you, it doesn't work that well when you have a lot of ideas, when you do a lot of different crafty stuff, when you're always finding new things you want to try, and when you're middle-aged. Okay, guys? You gotta write stuff down. So I got my notebook out when I got home yesterday. I fed the cats. I ate myself a little something. And I got one of my many, many notebooks out. Many, many notebooks. And this is a notebook I've been using kind of for independent work ideas and entrepreneurial ideas and YouTube ideas and things like that anyway, that I keep on my work surface here. I just got my notebook out and I started writing down all the things that I wanted to try. All the things. And it was nice to get it on paper, I have to say. I am somebody who likes a list anyway, and I had to stop making to-do lists, because I felt too bad if I made a to-do list but didn't do the thing on the to-do list. So I had to just kind of give that up. But I do still, I don't need two of these. These are the same. Okay, well, these are different colors, so I'll put this in. There. So it was nice to just get everything out, so that I don't just have it kind of clogging my already sometimes clogged brain and taking up mental energy that I can't always access, to be quite honest. I think, oh, I'm going to do this thing. I want to try that. I want to try that thing that I just saw on YouTube. And then I don't do it because I forget about it. So I was able to just get all the stuff down, which was really nice. And I also used that time I told you last time that I'm making this a junk journal specifically to remember stuff about my mom. And I also just started writing stuff down that I wanted to make note of in that journal, because that's another thing where a memory will pop up. And, some of them have been, they're not necessarily memories that are hard to access or whatever. But, they're things I don't think about all the time still. And I don't want to forget to put some of these things down. And of course, I could always do another mom journal, or, if I fill this one up or whatever. But I want to have that, as much of that stuff accessible as possible as I go into this first junk journal, so that I can go ahead and get this stuff down. So I'm writing down everything, the kind of books she liked to read, the TV shows we watched together, the movies. Oh, there's the deer. The deer's here. I named her Sherry. The actors she had crushes on back in the day. The soap operas she liked to watch. The foods she liked to eat. Stuff we did on the holidays. The vacations we took. I'm trying to get it all. I just wrote everything down that I want to make note of, so that I don't forget stuff before I start actually journaling in this journal. And I still have not decided, and I apologies, I have not looked at my comments from the last video yet to see if any of you guys had ideas about what to do with the cover of my mom journal. This is a lot of stuff to try to put in here, and I don't need all of it, but what do I want? What do I want? Just the logo? I started getting food from Thrive Market, which is online, a few months ago, because I eat a lot of dairy-free, gluten-free, organic stuff without preservatives and things like that, trying to clean up what I eat. And they have a lot of products at Thrive that they don't have, at least in the stores I usually go to. I guess I'll cut this out. This doesn't have the logo on it, but that's fine. Is it on the back? No, it's not on the back. I'll use that, and I'll use this. This has the logo on it. So I made notes of all that stuff, and it was just a really nice, fruitful session. Just sitting there thinking about it and thinking about stuff we used to do and she used to do when I was a kid. That was nice. And I remembered things I had, kind of forgotten. Like she loved Richard Simmons back in the 80s. She did his workouts. He used to have a daily show that she would watch and exercise to. And she also did, there was this workout show on premium cable. I think it was either on HBO or Showtime. And I'm talking early 80s. Like, this is still like heavy aerobics era. And it was very purposely sexy. So it always came on, it came on late at night. And the women wore like the sexiest workout outfits with the highest cut hips and all that kind of stuff that you could imagine. And the camera angles focused on their butts and all that kind of stuff. But they were really exercising. And my mom used to do that workout. We did not, fun fact, at the time have cable at all. We didn't have HBO. We didn't even have basic cable. Somebody in our neighborhood, I think it was actually our neighbors next door, they had a satellite dish, and our TV could pick up some of their channels. So we could pick up HBO, and that's how my mom was watching this workout show and doing the exercises, which is hilarious. Just remember satellite dishes. And I'm not talking the ones that go on people's roofs. I mean the ones that had to sit in the yard next to the house and looked like they could pick up radio waves from outer space. Satellite dishes used to be massive, which is, I'm sure, one of the reasons why we could pick up their cable, their premium cable, no less. So that's how that happened. But I cannot remember the name of that show. I'm going to have to look it up. I'm sure there's probably clips of it on YouTube. But to be honest, I'm just a teensy bit afraid of looking up sexy 80s workout or whatever, because who knows what's going to come back. I do not need any, I don't need weird viruses on my computer. I do not have time for that. So who knows? So I'm going to have to look that up. So I remembered that. I remembered, oh boy. I remembered a lot of stuff. Like, we used to go to, she and my godmother, when I was really, really little. They would take me to, in St. Louis, where I live, they used to have things called block parties. I don't think they really do those here anymore. I mean, they have like neighborhood, like the different municipalities and cities or areas in the county or whatever. They have, fairs and things like that, which are kind of the same, but they're not billed as block parties. And, but they used to have block parties. And so they would just take me around to different block parties. I don't need this part with just random nothing on it. I'll keep that. Use that for something. They used to take me to block parties. They take me to restaurants. My godmother is the one who took me to my favorite of all time Indiana Jones movie. That is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And that's another thing I wrote down that I'm going to start doing, is finding logos and photos and things like that for movies and TV shows and music and things that I remember from when I was a kid that I liked for my own journal. Just to remember some of the stuff that was important to me when I was a kid. I actually had it actually was my first job. I worked at the Humane Society here when I got out of college. I had a job as like an office assistant, basically, for the HR, the director of HR. And there was rarely enough work for me. And she was cool with me just kind of sitting at my desk and playing solitaire or doing whatever. And when I had finished all my work. And there was a period in time where I sat at my desk at that job every day and made a list of all the TV shows I watched when I was a kid. All of them. Every show I could think of. And I think I had like 2 to 4 pages worth of TV shows. Because that was the thing to do. Watch TV. Movies were a lot harder to, they weren't harder to get to or whatever, but, there was no streaming. So you could watch movies on TV. You could go rent movies. But there was even a part of time when I was a kid where that wasn't a big deal yet. Because remember, I'm middle-aged. So I grew up before, part of the time I grew up was before that became a thing. So the easiest thing to do, like especially on the weekends or at home during the summer, you just turn on the TV and you watch TV. And you have it on in the background and all this other kind of stuff. The TV is always on. You have multiple TV. Well, people probably still have multiple TVs in their homes, but when I grew up, I had a little 13-inch black and white TV in my room. There was a little 13-inch black and white TV in our kitchen. We had a TV upstairs. We had a TV in the basement. And then we had the main TV in the living room. And for a while, my parents had a TV in their bedroom too. So, you know, it was just all about the TV. So I wonder, I probably still have that list somewhere. I just don't know where it is. But that was a nice thing to do. And I like keeping track of the stuff that's important to me. And as we all know, stuff like that changes throughout our lives. And one thing that happens is you could love something, like be committed to it, be dedicated to it for years, maybe for, you know, the entire time you grow up or something, and then suddenly, for whatever reason, you either stop liking it or you get out of the habit of watching it or doing it or whatever. And you can easily forget about that stuff because it's not right in your face all the time. I don't think I need that since it's just empty. Good Lord. Now see, this is what I'm talking about. I've got stuff inside of stuff. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. And actually, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I feel like I need to do something with all these foil tops from these cat food things because I kind of like them. Just nice colors. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet. And I don't think I want to put them all down inside my junk journal. So I'm going to put those actually back in this box that I dumped them out of, along with this. Oh, and that. I was wondering where I'd put those. Now I know. So there's always a lot to keep track of, a lot to remember, a lot to think about, a lot to do. And every time you try something new, whether it's an experience or food, you can keep some of the packaging and put it in your junk journal. That's why these are good. And then you can write, you know, you don't have to just put the stuff in here and leave it. You can, but you can also try to keep track of when you first tried it, what you thought of it, whether or not you liked it. Are you going to try to buy it again? And that kind of stuff. It's all memory. It's all important if you decide it's important. If you've never had Jolly Llama and you like gluten-free, dairy-free ice cream cones, these are so amazing. I can't tell that there's not gluten and not dairy in these. They are very, very good. And, you know, as with most of this stuff, it's not low calorie, it's not necessarily low fat or anything like that. It's still got a bunch of sugar in it, a bunch of calories and all that kind of stuff because it is, you know, replacement ice cream. But good Lord, this stuff is good. That's why I cut this packaging up so I can keep track of it, because I'm definitely going to buy this stuff again. Definitely. Is it hot where you guys are? Because it is very hot here. So hot that to me, you know it's hot when there's no ants outside. Because ants love the warmer weather. That's when they come out. But if you go outside and you look down and you don't see any ants, if the ants are hiding, it's hot. Very hot. And actually the deer, Sherry, I didn't see her at all yesterday. It was so hot until she didn't come out, I don't think, until it was after 6 o'clock. It was after I got home from Savers that I saw her for the first time, and I was at home basically all day yesterday. So again, when wild animals wait to come out until it's almost dark, you know it's hot outside because they're living out there. So if they're living out there and deciding to just hide so they don't have to deal with the heat, that's major. That's major heat, I think. I'm probably overusing this packaging, but I love the logo, and part of my impetus for having this this junk journal, I'm gonna put my coffee down on this so that it stays out of the way, is to keep track of logos of things. And I do love this logo. I like a good typeface, guys. Typography is nice. So at some point I will probably share the dip pen and the inks I got. And I've already decided that I'm probably going to buy more ink. I'm going to wait until I'm going to wait for a couple of weeks until there's the Amazon, what do they call it? The big Amazon sale they do every summer. I think it starts on July 8th. I'm going to wait till that, and I'm definitely getting more inks. I'm going to try not to get too many more, but I'm going to get at least 2 more. Now I got some ink. I got a dip pen and ink set from Sailor, which let me see, is this Japanese or Korean? Japan. So Sailor is a Japanese company, and I got, like I said, a set from them. So that's my first dip pen. And I also got an additional ink from them and an ink from Ferris Wheel Press, which I discovered maybe about a month ago. Look at this box. Is this not glorious? I mean, if this isn't amazing junk journal fodder, I don't know what is. And the bottle itself is really pretty too. And that was only, I think it's 28 milliliters for like $20 or $22. So not that bad, and it's nice and shimmery, which I like. I like sparkly things, guys. Oh, the deer's leaving. Bye, Sherry. I hope she didn't poop in my yard again. She's been really bad about that lately. So I broke the no-buy. I broke the no-buy. Have you tried to do a no-buy? It's not easy. And I know why I do so much shopping. I like pretty colors. I like pretty textures. I like new things. Getting things in the mail makes me feel special. It's nice to have something that's not just bills come to the house or junk mail, even though I am now in a position where I can easily use junk mail for something. It's still nice to have to get something that I'm planning to use in an additionally important way, not just making junk journals or whatever. And it gives you something to do. Like when I leave the house, I'm a real homebody. I border on hermetism. I like staying at home. I like keeping my own counsel and just being with the cats and looking at my birds and the wild animals and stuff. But when I feel like I've been at home too much and I want to leave the house, what do? I go shopping. I go to Barnes and Noble. I go to Walmart. I go to Target. I go to Savers. I go to Half Price Books. And if I'm going to Savers, Half Price Books, Walmart, Target, Barnes and Noble, I'm going to buy stuff. It is, over the past couple of years, it's just been incredibly rare for me to go to one of those places and not buy stuff. That's why I have so many books and magazines, guys. Because I just keep buying stuff. You know, I stay in the house for a full week or whatever. And then I decide I want to get out. I go to Barnes and Noble and I come back with $100 worth of magazines, which is awesome because it gives me a lot of stuff to work with. But also now my house is filled with magazines and I need to go ahead and make some stuff with those magazines. So that's what I've been doing. So like I've said before, the point of the no-buy was for me to use stuff up before I get a lot more stuff. And I am starting to get there with this junk journal session. I'm starting to get there, guys. Still have, let's see, I've got this label from the cappuccino. Do you guys remember Taster's Choice? Not Taster's Choice. International, there was like international flavors. As far as I remember, it was the first like fancy sort of cappuccino like instant coffee that was in the stores. They used to have really nice commercials. My mom used to drink, I think there was only when I was a kid the French vanilla flavor. And I almost got some of that, but again, it was filled with genetically modified stuff, or bioengineered foods or whatever, which I'm trying to stay away from. So I did not get any of it. Plus, it didn't have the paper label. The label was actually printed on the container, which I didn't want to deal with. So that was another thing I remembered over the past few days. What do you guys like to save? Do you save all your packaging? Do you junk journal at all? Do you just do your standard pen and notebook journaling? Do you decorative journal? I started as just a regular, keeping a diary when I was a little kid. And then I got out of the habit for a long time. And then in the early 2000s, I started journaling again. And I started kind of playing with art supplies and things again. But then around 2015, 2016, I discovered planning, which led me to decorative journaling, which led to art journaling and glue booking and junk journaling and all this other stuff that has just really, really fed the raccoon in me, I guess. The trash collector. Because something I always loved magazines. I always loved books. I love pretty pictures and collecting things. I mean, I still have the very first 17 magazine I got when I was maybe 11. I'd have to look at it to see what the date is on it. When I first got, my parents first let me get that subscription. But I still have it. Um, and even as recently as like 2020, I would get magazines and rip pages out and collect them and put, you know, pictures or artwork or whatever from magazines in frames. And I have them still in frames on my wall in some cases. Here's the other menu that I had for a place I love locally. See if I can fit that in here. Oh, where'd I put the other one? No idea. No idea where I put. But look at all the pages. Well, not that one. I put more stuff on these two pages. These two pages. I did. There it is. There's the menu. I did these pages. These two. And I got a start on that. That's a lot. I've cleared out a lot of stuff. Yes, there is still quite a bit of stuff. I've got this pad tie with chicken bag. I've got this cardboard here. I've got some packaging from my my embossing die cut machine. Some of the embossing plates. I've got this bag full of stuff from Wendy's. My mom loved Wendy's chili, and I kept this bag, which is remarkably. Oh no, there is grease on it. I should probably cut those. I should probably cut those parts out. But I've got a bunch of stuff in this bag. Let me get this menu in here. Honestly, best fries in St. Louis. Let me see. Yep, there you go. Fozzie's Sandwich Emporium. Love it. And they have a the shrimp po' boy with this corn relish. My God, it's so good. So good. That is the thing I've been getting there. But I got to tell you, I've never had bad food from Fozzie's. Never. When my friends came to visit me for my birthday, we went there to eat. And shared fries and stuff. It was really nice. What else? Tried this. Like I said, I think I said before, like a lot of things, I love going to Aldi's. That's where I do a lot of my shopping. It's usually either Aldi or Walmart. And I found this pasta in the refrigerated section, lemon basil tortellini. And it was actually gluten-free, which I was not expecting. So I got it and tried it. It's very good. I threw some pesto on it and some of the oil from sun-dried tomatoes, a jar of sun-dried tomatoes. Very good. I made it a little bit too salty for myself, but not so bad that I couldn't eat it. I'll know better next time. It was very good. No, I don't need that. I can keep this. I don't need all of this though. It's the plastic wrapper from around a bottle of salad dressing, which is apparently Midwest made, for one of our grocery stores here. So keep that. Tape that down. I'm using a lot more regular tape than I usually do. Put this here under this little window. Yeah. I don't usually have this many either cardboardy things or plasticky things, or things I want to, I mean, this is just a paper label, but I turned it into, I don't usually turn this many things into flaps. Ugh. I almost bought frosting because I've got some gluten-free cake mix I've been thinking about pulling the trigger on. And I have used it before. It's very good. And again, I got that from Aldi too. But like I said, I'm trying to get better about the stuff I eat. And a lot of the store-bought frostings have genetically modified, bioengineered foods. So I was like, I'll skip it. But if you haven't had the Dolly Parton buttercream, Duncan Hines buttercream frosting, not only is there a cool drawing of her on the label, God, it's so good. Not that anybody could really go wrong with buttercream frosting. That would be difficult to do, but man, it's good. I don't need that. Don't feel like dealing with that right now. More Jolly Llama packaging, which I will put over here. Oh, that fits perfectly. Put that there. Using more tape. I'm glad I went ahead and refilled this this tape holder. I was not expecting to use this much regular tape, guys. It's usually very much exactly no. I probably should have done it over here instead. See if I can peel that off without too much trouble. Just glue it, tape it over here instead. See if that will not come off. So I'm gonna have to do this. Just fold it over. Fold it over to keep it from sticking. There we go. Put a little more tape over here. Let me see. I will use this. I told you I keep everything, and the scraps, all this is the part of the bag you pull off from an IM's cat food bag. And I'm like, that's a cool color. I wonder if I can do something with that. And of course I can. I can do something with it. I feel like I can't get rid of it. I'll use it for something else. Do I want to keep another of these? I might as well. Do I want to put it on the page where I had the other one of these? Where'd I put it? Where'd I put it? There it is. Do I want to put it here? I don't feel like I need to put it here. I can put it down here. And put it over here. Yeah. Actually use some glue on that, because it should stick fine. So when you're journaling, what do you guys do? Do you light a candle? Do you do it in the morning? Do you do it at the same time every day? Because I certainly do not do any of my journaling at the same time every day. I tend to do it more after work, just because I can be relaxed about it, and I do not like to be up and awake and doing stuff in the mornings. So especially before work, like I don't want to feel even remotely rushed or stressed out when I'm doing my journaling. So I don't do it in the mornings unless, it's like today or another day that I'm off work. So I tend to do my stuff after work. What do you guys do? I like doing it with my coffee. If I'm not recording, I will usually have it on YouTube. If I do it pretty early in the morning, I do it while I'm listening to Busted Open on the days that I'm off. But other than that, I do it, in the evening. I get myself a snack sometimes, or my cats I decided to try they like Fancy Feast. I decided to try these Fancy Feast gems. They like them, but this packaging is insane. I mean, look at it. Why does it have to come in these weird pyramid-shaped boxes? And also, a thing I don't like, the little plastic cup that comes inside here that the food is actually in, it's not recyclable. Why would they do that? As far as I'm concerned, no company, especially a major company like Purina, which makes Fancy Feast. They shouldn't be allowed to put things in packaging that can't be recycled. We all know we have a trash problem. We can't put everything in our junk journals. We just can't. Make all the packaging recyclable. Okay, so I'm gonna have to cut this little box up or pull it apart or something. It's being difficult. There we go. Just rip it. Rip it. La, 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 la. But I don't really have like a journaling ritual. If I'm not watching something on YouTube, I'll be watching, well, even if I am watching something on YouTube, it's either art videos, journaling videos, or wrestling. That's usually how I fill my time. Or what I've been doing the past month or so, I've been saving up all my at least a week's worth of General Hospitals, and then I watch my General Hospital while I'm doing my journaling and other art stuff, because I don't have to look right at the screen with that stuff to get the maximum amount of enjoyment. I think I'll keep this part of it, and this would make an interesting mark. See, this is what happens. Look at that weird shape. I guess I'll keep this. Just kind of cut it here and here. And when I go back to my jelly plate, which I have not actually used in a long time, and again, forgetting I have stuff, I bought a new jelly plate like 3 or 4 months ago. And it's got a pattern on it already. It's got like stripes or something on it. And I haven't used it yet because I forgot I had it. So I think I'll keep this and see if I can do some mark making with this weird shape, this weird paper shape. And I'll cut this too because this is another weird shape. So let me know in the comments. Tell me what you like to do when you journal. What kind of ritual you have. What stuff you watch. Are you lighting candles? Are you putting on special lighting? Are you listening to specific kind of music? Let me know. I really get a lot of just like simple joy out of separating box layers, cutting packaging, ripping stuff open, gluing and taping. And I think if you get simple pleasure out of anything, you need to do it. You need to just find a way to do it as much as possible. Because life's too hard. Life's too hard to not do the things that we like to do. Especially things that are as easily enjoyable and simple and, you know, things you don't need a lot of special items for. You're already, unless you live in the woods somewhere off the grid, and you make or grow all of your own stuff, you're buying food, you're buying clothes, you're buying, you know, toothpaste and toothbrushes and things like that. You have stuff you can put in a junk journal easily. And the other stuff, like, I've got kind of a fancy 5-star notebook here with a hard cover, but it's just a composition notebook. The only difference is it's got a hard decorative cover. But you can just go to the dollar store. You can go to the dollar store, get a notebook, save some of your trash, get tape and glue or whatever you might, pens or whatever else you think you might need from the dollar store. This is a hobby that is very accessible if you like paper, if you like, what is this? I don't need that. I feel like I don't. I like the logo there. I used to bowl. I actually recently got rid of, I had a bowling bag, a bowling ball, bowling shoes. I had the whole deal. And it's just not something I care that much about. So this is something old I found from when I bowled. And I don't need those whole cards. I'll just keep the little thing with the logo on it. And I'll tape it in. Tape it in. But I think we all need hobbies that are just I guess I can call it pure. Just something that, you don't have to have any special training. You don't have to have special equipment. You don't have to spend money, huge amounts of money. Again, this is from when I used to bowl. Saratoga Lanes. It is upstairs in Maplewood, Missouri. It's part of the county. And this is the score sheet, which I never understood. I never understood how to score bowling. I never got the hang of that. And it's fine, because I don't even do it anymore. So, we're all good there. Do I need to keep this whole thing? I don't need to keep this whole thing. I'll cut it. And I can use the lower half that I did not keep any scores on for, a page in a junk journal or whatever. We all need things we can do that don't feel like they put us out. You know what I'm saying? Just easily enjoyable, very pure hobbies. That's what we all need. We all need hobbies. If you don't have a hobby, if watching YouTube is not one of your hobbies, then find a hobby. Do some paper crafting. A lot of people make paper dolls. You can do all kinds of different journaling. Like I said, you can do decorative journaling. You can just get a pen and paper and write your thoughts down. You can even write them down, do asemic writing, which is where you just scribble randomly, but make it look kind of like writing. If you want, this is a very bad example. None of this looks like actual writing, I don't think. So you just kind of get your thoughts out without actually putting down specifically what you're thinking about. You can do that all day. You can do whatever you want with this. I'm not here for saying, oh, that's not journaling, that's not this, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. It's a form of memory keeping, and you're allowed to do it in whatever way you want. That is the absolute truth. Buy stickers, don't buy stickers. And again, stickers are something that, you don't have to spend a lot of money on. You can easily get those at the dollar store. It doesn't have to be a whole production, an expensive production, if you don't want it to be. And you can also, one of the good things about getting supplies from the dollar store is that you can try things and just figure out whether or not you like it before you go spending real money on stuff. I am actually doing a pretty good job here. I'm getting down. Things are getting down. I don't need these I have these boxes. I don't need these boxes. I don't have to keep everything. I don't need these boxes. There. Gone. Once you get in a habit of keeping things, have you guys had this? I have found that now that I'm in the habit of keeping things for junk journaling, for mark making, it's very hard to stop. It's very, very hard to stop. Do I want this? I mean, this would be nice in a, like as a page in a junk journal. Do I want that in there or do I want it in here? Decisions. I'll put it aside. I'll keep that for a page in a junk journal, just like that. If you like chocolate, you have to try Tony's. So good. Lots of different combinations. This one was milk chocolate, caramel, and sea salt. Ugh. God, guys, so good. Yeah. Fair trade, cocoa and sugar. Belgian chocolate. And nothing genetically modified. Very cool. And tastes good. Tastes very good. But like this, I got some tape and I just kept this little box. What am I going to make out of this little box? Am I going to make a tiny little journal? I could. Am I going to open the box up and use it as a page? I could do that. I don't know yet. But I feel compelled to keep this tiny little box that 2 rolls of tape came in. This clear pockety thing that one of my dip pen inks came in. You probably can barely see it. See there? I have to keep this. It's already sticky. It's got, you know, tape closure on it. I've been keeping these things for a long time now, for probably 3 years. I have a huge stack of them because a lot of stuff comes in them. You can't recycle them. And I've actually used some of them to put some art in and pages for magazines and things like that to put on my wall instead of using frames. I'm not 100% sure I like it. Like, I might end up framing all this stuff. I'm not sure yet. But at the very least, I mean, this is a whole sticky pocket by itself. That I didn't, you know, all I did was buy something I was going to buy anyway. And I can keep this and easily put this in a journal to be used as a pocket. So, do you guys have that thing where now that if you junk journal, now you just keep everything? Because it is hard to get out of the habit of that. Do I want all of this? This is another. This pad Thai refrigerated meal kit thing that I got. The food wasn't actually in here. There was a plastic container which held a bunch of separate pockets that had the ingredients in it. So this never actually had, like, I didn't have to wash it or anything. It never had actual food in it. And I could use this, I could cover a journal with this. Or use it as a page or something. I think that's what I'll do. Because this isn't, especially since this is something I'm not going to buy again, because it had mushrooms in it. And I consider mushrooms an apocalypse food. And it's not something I like to eat on any kind of regular basis. Okay, we're getting to almost an hour and a half here. This will be my longest video. And what I'm going to do is just get a couple of more. Do I want tape or do I want glue? Let's see if, oh, you know what? I can use my double stick tape. I haven't used that. I'm going to use my double stick tape here. Well, that didn't stick well at all. That might not be the best solution. I'm going to get just a few more things in here, and then I'm going to call it for today, so I can hopefully, it takes a long time for these videos to download. For me anyway. I don't know what your internet situation is like. My internet is decent. But it takes a long time for even like a 20-minute video to download and then to upload it to YouTube. So this one's probably going to take a while. I'm hoping to get this up later today and then do some other filming. But I'm going to call it after I do a few more little things here. Yeah, why not? Which one is this? Ooh, the burnt ends. So good. Love a burnt end. And then try to, well, the first thing I need to do, I did have breakfast this morning. I had Van's gluten-free waffles, blueberry waffles, very good. But I am currently hungry. So I'm going to, and I've been hungry for a while here. So I'm going to need to actually get something more than just coffee in me, which shouldn't be too difficult. Because I do have food. I actually made some really good pasta and vegetables a couple of nights ago, and I still have leftovers from that. And that will be very easy to just toss in a bowl, toss in the microwave, put some cheese on. Oh, guys, I know I said I'm trying to stay away from dairy, but cheese is so good. Cheese is just like one of the best things people have ever come up with. Right? If you don't like cheese, tell me why you don't like cheese. Like, do you not like any cheese at all? Or do you just not like certain types of cheese? Or you only have like one or two specific types of cheese that you do like? Let me know. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here with this Denny's receipt from last fall. Ordered Denny's for me and my mom when I was at her place. And there. Got a lot of pages done, guys. Or almost done, at least started. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16. Yeah, that's a lot. I got a lot done, guys. What a fruitful endeavor this was. Did it take a while? Yes, it did. Have I been running my mouth for an hour and a half? Yes, I have. But that's why you come here, right? You come to YouTube to watch people you don't know run their mouths about stuff you like. So it's all good. We did what we were supposed to do. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. Get this video edited and up. And figure out what I'm going to do next after eating. Food is very important. Always eat. Always eat. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me. And I'll see you next time. Bye.